Hey y'all, I'm Izzy Shouse, and today we are going to talk about making sustainable changes through doable actions. Doable actions. That's a funny word, isn't it? But I swear doable is totally a word. I'm a writer, trust me. Now, we have talked a little bit about accountability and timed goals, monthly for me, possibly some other timeline for you. But big lists and things like that can be a little daunting at first, so it really helps to break them down into doable actions. Like I know that the sitting down at the beginning, the very beginning, before you even have a plot of a book project can be very daunting. But if you just break it down and so can just about any other non-writing project in your life, and any big thing, or actually even some small things, can seem really daunting at first. But if you just break it down into doable actions, trust me, you can get through anything. And I'm going to walk you through a little bit of that today. Now, what is a doable action? Put simply, a doable action is a small task inside of a larger project that you can focus on to take care of one little thing at a time. You just move through your list of doable actions, and by the time you get to the last one, all of a sudden you're done with your project and you didn't even realize it, and you can just be like, yes, I did it! I conquered this bitch! It's a really awesome feeling to move through your doable actions, to feel like you've got everything under control, and to get the project done without being terrified of it the entire time. So yeah, that is a doable action. How do we use them? Well, for example, I use doable actions with just about everything in my life. I don't know about you, but even something like cleaning the mess in my living room can seem very daunting to me at first. I look at like the huge mess that's out there because I'm a very messy person. And I'm just like, oh God, this is going to take forever. There is no way in hell that I can get this done. And then I go and I eat some ice cream and pretend that it doesn't exist. But it is possible if I break it down into doable actions. So those doable actions might look like sort through the jackets that are laying on the couch, sort through the shoes that are to the left of the couch, sort through the pile of crap that is on the coffee table, organize the shoes inside the closet so that they're not just a huge giant mess, organize the little mail inside of my mail caddy because now it's overflowing and I didn't listen to what I originally planned when I had 3 slots and I was totally going to sort them as I went, and I just shoved them into one slot. Now I need to go through and organize them and figure out what can go because I've already paid that bill or something, or I've already written the thank you card for that one. And then you go through this list of doable actions where instead of focusing on, oh God, I have to clean the whole living room, instead it's just, no, I just have to sort through these jackets. And I can go down that list of actions, and for me, I can let my mind focus on just one thing at a time. So I'm just focusing on taking care of these jackets. And then once the jackets are taken care of, I move on to taking care of these shoes. And by the time I go through my entire list of what I can focus on, all of a sudden the living room's clean. And I'm just like, fuck yeah, I did this. It wasn't that scary after all. All right, Izzy, we know what a doable action is. You've explained it and you've given us an example. How the fuck does this apply to writing? I'm glad you asked. All right, so we know what a doable action is. How do we apply it to writing? Well, just like it can be applied to every single piece of your life, it can be applied to your writing. And so basically, you are sitting down with the basic idea of what your book is going to be about, and you have no idea what your characters are going to be, or what your world looks like, or really, you don't even know the whole plot. You've just got this basic premise in your mind, and holy cow, this shit looks fucking daunting and there's no way I can plow through this book. Yes, you can. You just need to figure out the ingredients that make up the recipe, and then you'll be on your way. So I have broken down what the doable actions are for a book one in a new series for me. So this is a long list, and I've got it on my computer. I'm going to read it to you, so you're just going to have to bear with me as I go like this. But yeah, so these are the things that kind of make up a book one for me, and they do get translated into my monthly goals. Some of them do, some of them are just kind of things that I do along the way, or they're part of a complex goal that I just kind of grouped together on my monthly goals list because I didn't want to have 50 goals, and I was happier to get things done in groups instead. But I always have like this list of doable actions to the side, and I go down it so that I know what I'm doing next. So let's take a look at what those doable actions are. So this is a list of 27 actions. This looks like my question number one would be to ask myself, is this a genre that I'm already writing in, or is it a new one to me? Because that's important. So you can see that we're taking things all the way back to the beginning. We're not focusing on plot or anything first. We're just breaking down what we need to look at the beginning. So if it's a new genre, then have I read at least 5 books by 5 different authors in this genre? Because I got to do my research. I got to know what tropes I'm looking for. Otherwise, I'm going to fuck up this book. Like, for example, I didn't follow this advice for Space Mage, and Space Mage is not very to market. It's a book that I love, and I love this series, and I'm going to finish this series, but it's not very to market. I really should have read other space fantasy books or really more space opera sci-fi books before I delved into that. And you can kind of see how that affected things because I had a really great launch, but my book didn't stick as well. It actually did stick pretty well. It's not like the book tanked or anything, but it could have done better. And that's just because it wasn't to market. All right, so going off of point number 2 is, do I understand the tropes of this genre? Whether or not I've already read those 5 books, or at this point I've gone and read those 5 books if I hadn't already done that. So at this point, I've done my research. Do I understand the tropes? Prove it. Make a list of 10 tropes with explanations of what each one is and why it's important to the reader that it's present. Because it's not just enough to know what the trope is. You need to know why it's important, or else it's going to fall flat. So you really need to understand what the reader wants in that trope, otherwise you're going to screw it up. This is all part of research, and I honestly believe that these things are things that everybody should be doing. So, you can totally copy my list if you want to, or, if you want, you can ask me and I'll put this list in the comments so that it's easily accessible for everyone. So point number 4 goes to, should I go wide or stay in KU with this series? And to make that decision, I need to research the top 20 books in the genre and niche on Amazon to determine what is popular for this genre. And especially with that, you need to be looking to weed out the traditional books. If it's a very traditional dominated genre, that usually doesn't mean that you can't do it, just that it's probably going to do better wide. Because the readers in that genre are used to higher prices, and they're used to looking for the books on all platforms, because traditional publishers are on all platforms. So yeah, weed out the traditional books, but pay attention to if they're there. All right, research the top 20 book covers in the genre, because just like I need to know the tropes for a new genre, I need to know that I'm looking for a cover that is going to hit the expectations of the covers in this genre. I don't want a cover that's not going to sell my book. Based on the above, researching the top 20 covers, will my current designers work for this genre, or do I need to look for a new one? Very important. Not all cover designers can cover all genres, although Bookfly is amazing and can do just about anything. But keep that on the down low. They're already booking too far out. And at that point, I'm going to book cover designer if I need a new one or if I don't already have a spot. The addendum there is because if I don't need a new cover designer and I can use Bookfly, then I've already got a spot with them. because I booked them so far out in advance. Like for 2018, I have them booked for a cover every month, even though I don't know exactly what I'm going to use all those covers for. So it's really helpful for me. I don't need to book a cover slot if I'm using Bookfly. Moving on, point number 9, or point number 8, God, I don't know where I am, is research the average book lengths of the genre, because I want to make sure that I'm not writing too short and disappointing people. I'm not writing too long, because while long is generally good, especially if you're in KU, because then you get those page reads. Sometimes if you write too long and it's a staple of a genre that they prefer shorter books, then you run the risk of boring your reader. So at that point, I determined the book length for the book based on my research of the average book length. Then I take the estimated book lengths and divide it by my average words per day, which is 12,000. The resulting number is how many days it's going to take me to write the book. And then I schedule in time on my year in writing spreadsheet to write the book. And then I discuss with editor the available time they have for this book and determine estimated time of editing completion. Book the editor is the next one. Y'all, I'm sorry if my voice is getting rough. I'm like taking a break to cough in between each of these points, and it's killing me. I'm really sick. So then I've booked the editor. Now I take a look at the estimated editing completion date, and I extrapolate from that what my publication date will be. And put that publication date on my calendar for easy reference. So you'll notice that a lot of these doable actions are really easy, and a lot of them could probably be combined, and they are on my monthly goals list. But for my doable actions, I want every single little thing that I can focus on. Because if I have too many big things, it'll get overwhelming. So after that, I execute phase 1 of outlining. Again, we're going to get into that later. And then I submit phase 1 to my editor for preliminary approval. While waiting for approval, take a break. Read another book in the genre to keep tropes and ideas fresh. Execute phase 2 of outlining after I get editor approval for phase 1. Sometimes I have to go back and redo phase 1 depending on what my editor says. Submit the full outline to editor for content review. While waiting for approval, again, take a break. Read another book in the genre to make sure that the tropes and the ideas are staying fresh. Then I make adjustments to the outline based on what my editor said. And at this point, we'll probably go back and forth a little bit until I get an outline that we're both happy with. And then I input my finalized outline into Scrivener. Divide number of chapters by days scheduled for writing book to determine chapters needed to complete per day. Because even though I have a word count goal per day, I also have a chapter goal per day. Because some chapters will be longer or shorter than I originally estimated. So I need to make sure that I'm getting the specific number of chapters completed in addition to the word count to make sure that I'm finishing the book on time. And then this next one, sometimes this happens after the book is written, but usually it's before, which is why I put it here. And that's approves the book cover. Generally, at this point in my career, I'm getting my book covers sometimes even before I outline the book, just because I'm going so far in advance. I'm like stockpiling covers. And then number 27 is write the damn book. Which can, that can be broken down into further doable actions of write X amount of chapters. Actually, that probably should have been broken down into further doable actions just because writing the book is a little daunting in and of itself. But those are my 27 doable actions that go into creating book 1 of a new series. And that kind of gives you an idea of how you can use doable actions to break down the entire writing process so that it's not so intimidating and you just have one thing to focus on at a time. But yeah, so having a list of doable actions, if you look at the whole list, it can still be kind of daunting, but you're not supposed to look at the whole list. You're just supposed to look at one item at a time and go down the list. It's kind of like having an outline for your life where you know everything that needs to happen next, but you just focus on the thing that you're doing at the time. So there you have it. That is what doable actions are and how you can use them in your writing life. That is all that I have for you today. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel. I post new videos on Wednesdays. I'm getting really good at it. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them in the comment field down below, or feel free to tweet me at Izzy Shows, or shoot me a message on Tumblr if you want to be anonymous. Same thing goes if you have an idea for a video that you'd like to see me do. If I like your idea, I will give you a shout out when I do the video. Some of you have already given me ideas for other videos, and I promise, even though I haven't done them yet, I am going to do them. They just need to fit into my current schedule. So they are coming up. I promise I'm going to do them. All right. I love you all so much, and I hope you have a fantastic rest of your week.